Hey guys, welcome to the Dynamic Duo. I'm Franz.
I'm Kevin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the only place in the universe that you need to be, the dynamic duo.
Kevin, man, we have, first of all, we don't do this show regularly enough, but we have lots to talk about. We have lots to talk about. There's a lot of stuff that I want to get off my chest, and I know there's a lot of stuff you want to get off your chest. We definitely have to talk about the success of Spider-Man. 2.2 billion and counting, 2.2 billion and counting. We definitely have to talk about Doomsday and all the news that's coming out.
Yes,
I want to rant. I'm going to do a show about j'accuse. I'm accusing Kevin Feige of hating the MCU. Uh, not the, no, no, I'm sorry, not the MCU, but hating superheroes, Marvel superheroes. And what else? What else? Lots of other stuff to talk about. What did you want to start off with?
well, first of all, I want to publicly thank you because, courtesy of my wonderful partner, I saw Spider Man and loved it.
Yeah, Spider-Man was awesome. Spider-Man was awesome, but more than awesome, Spider-Man did a lot of work, Kevin. It, first of all, in my opinion, what matters to me is that it disproved a lot of the naysayers. It disproved a lot of the manospheres. It disproved a lot of the people that were saying, you know, superhero movies, fatigue, the Marvel is over. It was a stupid thing to say in the first place. It was ridiculous and very frustrating for me to hear that at the time. And this movie, and it wasn't just this movie. This theory had been disproved by, Deadpool and Wolverine, and other movies. But this movie shatters that myth. It shatters it because it didn't make $1 billion. It made $2 billion and counting. Now, here's what's stupid. Here's what's ridiculous about the naysayers. And forgive me if I'm ranting, but here's what's stupid about the naysayers. You know what they're going to do, Kevin? They're going to reset the standard. They don't understand that the Marvel movies have reset the standard of what it means to be a successful movie. So now, Spider Man Brand New Day has reset the standard to a $2 billion standard. $2 billion. So if Doomsday makes 1.2 billion, they're going to say, oh, yeah, it's a failure. People are not interested in movies anymore. If it does anything less than $1 billion opening weekend, they're going to say, oh, it's a failure. When the standard is $100 million opening weekend, not a billion. If you make $100 million opening weekend, you have a very successful movie. You're doing very well. But that's what they do. And that's what they did with the MCU movies. The MCU movies had set a $1 billion standard, right? When it reached a $1 billion standard, then they started judging every other movie that didn't make $1 billion as a failure, which is, yeah, anyway. So I'm very, very glad that the movie disproved the naysayers and the idiots out there. The second thing that the movie does for me, and forgive me if I'm taking too long, but the second thing that the movie does for me is that, and perhaps that's the most important thing for me, it proves, Kevin, beyond a shadow of a doubt, and it's not the only movie that does that, that the closer you stick to the source material, the more successful you're going to be. And that we don't need to be afraid of the superhero genre, of the costumes, of the superpowers, of the origins, and everything else. What you have, Kevin, is you have Tom Holland. Tom Holland, the same Tom Holland, making Spider-Man movies. He made Spider-Man 1, made Spider-Man 2, made Spider-Man 3. And while those movies were wildly successful, they were very successful, there's no doubt about it. None of them, none of them resonated the way this movie did. None of them had the connection, the appeal, the fall in love with the movie. It is true that the last one, Far From Home, whichever one, made a lot of money. It did. It made a lot of money. but it didn't resonate the way this movie is resonating. It's a different type of making a lot of money. And the reason is because they took the Tom Holland Spider-Man, and as much as they could, they brought him back to the comics, particularly when it comes to the costumes. We keep being afraid of the authentic costume. We keep thinking we have to tweak the costumes. We have to change the costumes. We have to make them more realistic. We can't present them as the comic book. All these stupid and ridiculous reasons. And there is a slight difference because the other costumes were arguably Spider-Man costumes, but they weren't the Spider-Man costume. And that slight difference makes a big difference in the minds of the viewer. And the moment we saw the Romita, the authentic Spider-Man costume, it did something else to us. And so it proves the closer you stick to the source material, we need to have authentic X-Men. We need to have authentic, which brings us, by the way, to what they're doing with the Doctor Doom costume. It is arguably a Doctor Doom costume. Is it the Doctor Doom costume? It is not. And it is affecting my reaction to the movie. So Spider-Man disproved the naysayers, proved the authenticity, stick to the source material is great, and it proved just the power that these movies still have and could have if you handle it right.
Yes.
That's my rant.
I have to say, one of the reasons why Spider-Man works and is doing so well is the actual story is different from what we've seen. The story for the audience has a level of heart and gravitas that wasn't even there when Tobey Maguire did it. MJ through Zendaya is not just there as a damsel in distress. She is not just a set piece. She is part of the story.
Yeah.
Sure. Is in the story and is part of that story. The Hulk is in the movie and is part of what Spider-Man lives up to. These are the things that make the difference. It's not just a story that is being thrown together with 105 characters, which bothers me about Doomsday. Because it's not really a cohesive story. The Russos are counting on Infinity War and Endgame to help push this movie, much like The Force Awakens did with the original Star Wars. That movie would not have worked on its own without A New Hope.
So we're going to talk about Doomsday, and you make a point that I definitely want to address with respect to Doomsday. But what you're saying about the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer is also very, very accurate. I would argue that the Sam Raimi 1 and 2 do the same thing too. And what it is that I think they're doing is I feel like Brand New Day, Raimi 1 and 2, Iron Man 1, Superman's Christopher Reeves, I think that they're striking the right balance. I think it's all about balance. And it's about striking the right balance. And I think that what makes Brand New Day so beloved and so successful is that it strikes the balance of offering the superhero genre without compromise. Well, there is a little bit of compromise in Brand New Day with respect to the villains. They didn't give Scorpion his full costume. They didn't go all the way there with Punisher in terms of costumes. They didn't go all the way there with Jean Grey, things like that. They did tweak Jean Grey, so it's not quite there. But when it comes to Spider-Man, they went all the way with respect to powers, with respect to costume, with respect to they brought the comic book to life, unashamedly so. And I could almost hear the people saying, "Oh, well, it would have been a mistake to give the Scorpion costume. It would have been a mistake to put Punisher in that silly outfit." And we keep making the same stupid mistakes, no matter how much we've been disproved. It's like, no, if you do it well, it will work. The Spider-Man costume and in the 1970s movies looks silly, but the same costume done well looks great. The Punisher costume done well would look great. And so would the Scorpion costume done well, just as the Deadpool costume is done well, and so on and so forth. And so the Spider-Man movie struck that balance of offering you the authentic comic book. One of the mistakes that Kevin people make is that they keep thinking and assuming that comic books are just these silly, stupid. No, there is gravitas in good story and good comic book storytelling. And so what this movie does is it gives you the superhero at 100%, the way Spider-Man moves, the action sequences, it's Spider-Man. But there's, as you said, as you pointed out, there's a gravitas to it. There's a deep story to it. There's a good story to it that compels you to like the characters and to be involved in the characters. As you said, MJ is not just MJ. Ned is not just Ned. There's an emotional connection between the characters, and there's a cost and consequence to what happens to the characters among themselves that make us care about what happens to the characters. The way the movie ended made us want to cheer. It made us want to hug Spider-Man too. It made us want to stand outside the hospital. So that's the formula. And it's a simple formula that can and has been repeated. Every time it's been repeated, it's been successful. You don't need to change it. It's the same exact formula. It's the hero's journey. Period. You just flavor it Batman or Spider-Man or and that's it. And so you're absolutely right about that. That movie was special because it delivered a gravitas while at the same time, oh my God, man, the way Spider-Man moves. Listen, that's what Spider-Man 2 did. I mean, when Spider-Man 2 is swinging through the streets and picks up himself on the train, that's superhero, that's beauty. And that's what, Kevin, that's what. If they did a Thor movie in that vein, if they gave Thor his costume, and if they wrote a good, solid story, which, by the way, there are plenty of great, solid stories in the comic books. If they wrote one of those movies, heroic, Odyssey-like movies, Odyssey-like stories with Thor, oh boy, and his full. These people keep calling me all the time. They participate once and they always come after you. But anyway, if they did that, uh, then 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 Marvel would be back. Marvel would be they would replicate it. Not every character is a $2 billion character. Not every character is a $2 billion character, but every character would reach their potential. So Spider-Man is 2 billion. Thor is about 1 billion, which is huge. Again, let's not forget. Um, Captain America is around 1 billion, and so on and so forth. Fantastic Four, etc., etc. They would reach their potential, which very few of them have.
I also want to add that part of why there is a wrinkle in the storytelling with a lot of these is that the producers and writers themselves, the directors, do not realize these stories, regardless of how corny and silly, silly they may appear, they are part of our modern mythology.
Absolutely. Brilliantly said.
Okay? This is part of why things such as Star Trek and Star Wars work, and especially comics themselves. Comics, as you know, were always part of what kept me alive when I was in the hospital.
Yeah.
The nurses, when I was flat on my back or stomach, would come into the room and turn the pages when I couldn't grab them myself.
That's right.
It's part of the hero's journey and part of the hero's conflict and the way that the villain sees his or herself. And the people that create these things, when they sell them to DC or to Marvel, to have them turned into movies and television shows, they need to realize just how much this is part of teaching and reading.
Brilliantly said. Brilliantly said. And you're absolutely 100%. And it reminds me that there are a couple of other topics that I want to talk about. Try to remind me later. It brings up what you're talking about. It brings up James Gunn. I want to talk about the lanterns. I want to talk about what that means because what you're saying is so important. But to me, what that translates into, Kevin, is that it translates into respect the material. Respect the material. I gave the analogy the other day. It's like you want to sell hamburgers, and and you come up with a hamburger design that people have loved. You know, one person you cook for one person, they love the burger. They say they introduce it to somebody else, and that person loves the burger. And the more people eat your burger, the more they love it. And you get to the point where 1,000 people have tasted your burger, and they think this is the best burger they've ever had. And so you're going to go to market with it and present it on a national scale. And so what you do is you say, let me change the formula. That doesn't make any sense. That's what is happening with superheroes. These products have been test marketed and proven over decades, over millions of people on a global scale. It is ridiculously arrogant to come in there and say, you know what? I think I need to change this. That's just ridiculous, particularly when it's been proven over and over and over again that the closer you stick to the source material, the closer you get to that marketed, proven, product tested product, the more successful, the more liked the product is. So you bring up you're absolutely right about the mythology, and we can talk about other subjects, including, by the way, I want to talk about Zack Snyder. I want to talk. I want to talk about Gunn, and I want to talk about Doomsday, and I want to talk about lanterns and Feige. All right. So, guys, I hope you join us. We're going to continue this conversation and splice the conversation, but I hope you join us and let us know what you think. Let us know if you agree or disagree. Let us know what you thought of Spider-Man and why you think Spider-Man was special. Kevin, I hate the fact that so many people are misinterpreting why Spider-Man was successful. It's ridiculous. So join us next time. What do you want to talk about next?
Very, very cool. Hey guys, as we always say, there are a lot of very important things that are going on in the world, and we do this show not to ignore those things, but we do it in spite of those things. And I encourage all of you to educate yourselves. There are a lot of channels out there that give you good information about what's going on, and I recommend that you guys, there's I can't yeah, the Majority Report. Go to the Majority Report on YouTube, and you'll get some really good information. And it just starts from there. I can't think of all the names right now.